Diesel torque sounds incredibly appealing when you're shopping for a used SUV. The marketing shows these vehicles tackling rugged tracks and hauling heavy caravans. But the reality for most Australian buyers is much closer to home: stop-start suburban traffic, short trips, and crawling through school drop-off zones. To function correctly, a modern diesel engine physically needs to work hard. These systems rely on reaching and maintaining high operating temperatures over long distances to burn off internal carbon buildup. This chart illustrates the problem. When an SUV spends its life trapped in short, cold suburban trips, it never leaves this bottom left danger zone. That forces the vehicle to manage high-pressure fuel injection, turbocharging, and complex emissions equipment, like a diesel particulate filter, without the heat required to keep them clean. The result is a severely clogged driveline and an extensive repair bill. The hardware itself isn't defective. A well-maintained diesel thrives under the heavy loads of towing, long-distance highway driving, and high annual kilometers. That is exactly what the system was engineered to do. But if your routine consists of local commuting and moderate yearly use, you take on the mechanical risks of a diesel without reaping the rewards. For these buyers, trading that low-end torque for the mechanical simplicity of a petrol version is the sensible way to avoid those specific maintenance traps. Coming in at number 5 is the 2007 to 2013 Nissan X-Trail T31, specifically the 2.5-liter naturally aspirated petrol model. This engine avoids a turbocharger, high-pressure injectors, and a diesel particulate filter entirely, and it reaches operating temperature much faster during a quick drive to the supermarket. The appeal here is strictly practical. It offers a square body that maximizes cargo space, excellent outward visibility, and a four-wheel drive system that provides useful traction for wet campsites or gravel roads. Keep in mind, it is not a heavy-duty touring vehicle, but it handles light recreational use easily. The major mechanical trade-off with the Petrol T31 is how power gets to the wheels. Most used buyers will encounter Nissan's continuously variable transmission, or CVT. Early T31 vehicles experienced transmission bearing and internal failures due to the friction and stress placed on the internal belt and pulleys. Many of these units had to be replaced during their working lives. Because of that risk, you must test this transmission rigorously. Drive the vehicle from a completely cold start and continue until it is fully warm. Include hills, parking maneuvers, and firm acceleration. A healthy CVT will maintain speed without abnormal flaring, persistent whining, shuddering, or delayed engagement. Next, check the service history to verify the transmission fluid has been changed using the exact correct specification. Do not accept the claim that the fluid was sealed for life. The buying rule for the X-Trail is strict. Choose the 2.5-liter petrol only when the CVT behaves flawlessly and its maintenance is fully documented. If you want to eliminate that transmission uncertainty entirely, look for a manual version. Number 4 is the 2012 to 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander ZJ and ZK. The conventional 2.4-liter petrol version is one of the least dramatic family SUVs on the used market, and for suburban owners, that is part of its appeal. It tolerates repeated short journeys naturally, bypassing the complications of the turbo diesel model. While some versions offer occasional third-row seating, be realistic about its limitations. That back row is strictly an emergency or child-sized arrangement. Buyers who need 7 seats every day should consider a proper people mover rather than assuming the Outlander can replace one. Just like the X-Trail, the primary mechanical inspection point is the CVT. Test it from cold and after a long drive, specifically feeling for shudder, delayed engagement when shifting into drive or reverse, abnormal droning, or overheating warnings on the dash. You also need to verify how the previous owner used the all-wheel drive system. Check beneath the vehicle and around the rear differential for evidence of deep mud, beach driving, or structural impacts. The Outlander has useful traction, but it is not built for serious low-range off-roading. The buying rule is straightforward. Choose a petrol Outlander with complete servicing, smooth CVT behavior, and a history of modest family use. Walk away from any example that has spent its life overloaded, overheated, or running on neglected transmission fluid. Number 3 is the 2013 to 2018 Subaru Forester SJ. The recommended 2.5i model uses a naturally aspirated flat-4 petrol engine. It's a sensible compromise for buyers who want confidence on wet roads and rough access tracks, without taking on the turbocharging and emissions equipment found in Subaru's diesel boxer engine. The engine does require thorough checking. Listen closely for any abnormal noises during a completely cold start. Inspect for coolant leaks, and check the service records to see if the previous owner actively monitored oil consumption between regular services. This visualization shows the driveline of an all-wheel drive Subaru. Because the system constantly sends power to all four wheels, running tires of different brands, sizes, or significantly different tread depths forces the wheels to rotate at different speeds. This places unnecessary and destructive friction directly into the driveline. 4 matching tires are absolutely essential. The Forester uses Subaru's Lineartronic CVT. It must operate smoothly right from a cold start, with no persistent shuddering, no hesitation during take-up, and no warning lights on the dashboard. The buying rule here is to choose a standard, unmodified 2.5i Forester. Insist on 4 perfectly matching tires, a consistent history of oil servicing, and a CVT that easily passes an independent specialist inspection. Number 2 is the 2018 to 2020 Kia Sorento UM. While the diesel versions are incredibly popular, the naturally aspirated 3.5-liter petrol V6 has a very specific use case. It is a smooth, capable 7-seater paired with a robust 8-speed conventional automatic transmission, meaning you avoid CVTs, turbos, and common rail diesel systems completely. This chart outlines the primary trade-off. A large petrol V6 hauling a 7-seat SUV uses noticeably more fuel in heavy urban driving than its diesel counterpart. For high-kilometer owners, that extra fuel consumption becomes a significant ongoing cost. Because of that fuel penalty, this Sorento is not the best choice for everyone. Drivers who regularly travel long highway distances or tow heavy caravans are still better served by a properly maintained diesel model. When inspecting a used V6, pay close attention to the cabin. Family SUVs endure heavy interior wear. The exterior paint might look excellent, but you need to test every seating mechanism, rear air conditioning outlet, parking sensor, and powered tailgate to ensure they still function perfectly. The buying rule is to select the petrol V6 strictly for short-trip family duties and manageable annual kilometers. Do not buy it expecting diesel-like fuel efficiency or as your first choice for heavy, regular towing. Taking the number 1 spot is the Mazda CX-5, specifically the KE and KF series, built between 2013 and 2021. The requirement here is the naturally aspirated 2.5-liter petrol engine. It combines excellent road manners and family space while completely avoiding the severe ownership concerns tied to Mazda's 2.2-liter diesel. The main trade-off is that the 2.5-liter petrol lacks the low-revolution towing torque and outright highway economy of the diesel model, but for ordinary suburban driving and highway commuting, it is far more reliable and easier to recommend. A major part of that reliability comes from the transmission. Instead of a belt-driven CVT or a complex dual-clutch transmission, Mazda pairs this engine with a conventional 6-speed torque converter unit. It engages promptly and shifts cleanly without slipping or harshness. Popularity does not guarantee good condition, so inspect the vehicle carefully. Check the iStop system and the battery. Repeated electrical issues often indicate an unsuitable replacement battery. Also note that the larger wheels on higher specification GT and Acera versions reduce overall ride comfort and increase your tire replacement costs. The buying rule is simple. Choose the naturally aspirated 2.5-liter petrol with a 6-speed automatic and a complete service history. It is the ultimate expression of the suburban petrol strategy, provided you don't assume that 2.2-liter diesel carries that same low ownership risk. Ultimately, the final decision between petrol and diesel must be dictated by how the SUV will genuinely be used every day, rather than the rugged lifestyle sold in the brochures. Look at this decision map. If you regularly tow, travel long highway distances, and bring the engine to full operating temperature, a properly maintained diesel remains the correct choice. But if you mainly complete school runs and local commuting, petrol is the answer, removing expensive diesel-specific failure points. Whichever fuel you choose, you still have to verify the condition of the specific vehicle sitting in front of you. Every used SUV requires a strict pre-purchase vetting process. Always run a PPSR check and verify the VIN for outstanding recalls. Confirm the exact engine and transmission fitted to the car. Inspect the complete service history. Start the vehicle from cold. Drive until it's fully warm to test the transmission behavior. Check cooling system, suspension, and brakes. Look underneath for evidence of towing, beach use, or off-road damage, and arrange an independent inspection and a full diagnostic scan. Petrol is not automatically superior to diesel in every scenario, but for these 5 SUVs and the typical suburban Australian owner, it is the more sensible financial decision.